Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the 2 Point Lighting Podcast. I am one of the co-hosts, Matt.
And I'm Tate.
And on this episode, for the first topic that I'm going to bring up to us, so Tate, have you heard of this sort of, I guess you could say, viral debate of the 100 men versus the gorilla? Have you heard about that?
I think I've heard about that. Okay.
Yeah, so I was seeing it on a few different platforms that I follow, and essentially what the debate was, I'm not too entirely sure where this exactly came up, but
Yeah.
the debate was, could 100 men take on one gorilla, and who would win?
Okay, so do the men have tools, or is it just men?
Yeah, so it's just like a regular person,
Like, they have to beat it to death.
regular people, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Truthfully, I don't know. Gorillas are really strong. And here's the thing. I think 100 men could weigh down a gorilla. Because I don't think a gorilla could pick up, say, 100 men. Although you would have to get 100 men onto the gorilla, so...
Interesting theory. So, the different debates that I was seeing, right? More people favored, I think, the gorilla.
Really? To kill all 100 men.
But here's the thing, though, is that if you break down the logistics, depending how you look at it, right? 100 men wouldn't be fighting the gorilla at once. They'd be coming in waves, right? So
Yes.
maybe, I don't know, like 10, 15, maybe that could surround it. And if they're all punching and kicking, well, I mean, a gorilla is has very tough skin, and they're like super strong. So
Yeah.
essentially, the humans wouldn't really stand much of a chance.
Here's the problem: is you could come in waves, and gorillas have very bad stamina.
So that's
Okay, is that
I'm
an
glad-
actual argument?
yes. So I'm glad you brought that up. That was gonna be because I'm kind of split on this. At first, I'm thinking, okay, well, yes, there are a lot of men, but their damage wouldn't do much to the gorilla. But though gorillas are very strong and
Yeah.
definitely agile, they don't have a lot of stamina.
Yeah.
So if more humans came in more waves, the last set of humans to go attack the gorilla, essentially they may have a chance if the gorilla is really just worn out.
Like, what I'm assuming they would do is they would just come in waves. Some people would get hit pretty bad, and then they would back off until they could recover a little bit, maybe get the wind knocked out of them, and then come in. I think the men have that, honestly. Obviously, the gorilla will also be having adrenaline, so it won't feel exhaustion as badly as it would, but...
Yeah, I think someone put into chat GPT as to who would win, and
Yeah.
essentially it said the gorilla would because due to the gorilla's strength and so on, strength and agility, and then also too just to do dealing with the unorganized chaos that comes with humans, where just seeing the first wave of humans get I'm assuming the gorillas can rip your limbs off, or they can do some serious damage.
They
right?
can do damage pretty easily.
That's going to affect the rest of the people and just either hit their confidence or just the general chaos of the situation. And the fact that it's tough to say, I mean, of course, so many different variables. Are these trained fighters for humans, or are these just random people just hurling at the gorilla? It's tough to say, because in that case, if it's just, people just in an act of chaos, just hurtling towards the gorilla, they're not necessarily going to have a strategic plan.
Well, okay.
So the chaos is just going to just go in, not in the human's favor, right? Because there's not
Here's the problem, as I see, is humans will come up with a more strategic plan, and someone's eventually going to say, I'm going to throw dirt in its eye, or whatever matter from another human is lying around.
And that's also another good point too, because people are is this in an arena setting, or is this in the wilderness?
I think anywhere, someone's going to eventually just huck garbage in its eye, and then it's not going to be able to see it, and then you're going to be able to really take it strategically. And the thing is, if you back off from the gorilla and it's tired, it's probably not going to try and chase you down. And so you're going to be able to strategically
Yeah.
hit it always from behind, probably with 100 men.
True. Unless, yeah, because there are blind spots. So
There are blind spots, and you would blind it. Someone would either poke its eyes out or
and then
or
they
throw
have the
dirt in its eye,
advantage.
and then the gorilla is kind of immobilized, and like it could fling around wildly, reducing its energy,
Yeah.
right? But then I think 100 men have it.
But what if you're in a situation where there is no dirt or like is
Well,
no other?
okay,
It's just like an arena, right?
Other men will still die, and there'll still be particles
Interesting.
that you can huck in its eye.
Because the debate that I'm seeing, people are like favoring the gorilla.
I'm
though.
favoring the men, but I
Interesting.
don't. Here's the thing: I haven't thought about this at all.
See, I was giving some thought because some podcasts that I listen to having this debate, and at first I'm thinking like, okay, well, like the gorilla, no doubt, because 100 like men can't all fight the gorilla at once, so they have to go in waves and they're all going to die. But then I didn't realize that gorillas had very like low stamina. And I'm like, okay, well, if the humans are just if the first few sets of waves are almost like cannon fodder, so to speak, wearing out the gorilla, then yeah, the last couple of humans to attack the gorilla, maybe they might have the advantage there because the gorilla is going to be just more vulnerable, more susceptible to not as much in terms of like defending themselves.
Yeah.
But I think I read somewhere that like a zoo expert or like a zookeeper was asked this question. And of course they had to preface it by saying, well, it would never happen. It's like, well, obviously it would never happen. But as like
Yeah.
a fun hypothetical, right? Then they're like, okay, well, to entertain the idea, essentially, if this was like out in like the wild, apparently gorillas, they're not known to just attack unless they are provoked or unless like someone is approaching their children.
Yeah.
Then it, can turn real pretty quick. But essentially they're survivalists at the end of the day. So they're not going to want to seek violence.
Yeah.
And so if they see 100 men hurtling towards them,
It's never gonna fight them.
they're just going to want to find a better spot to run. And not because they're not afraid necessarily to fight. They're just like, why fight if I can conserve my energy and find a place to run off to? But if their back's against the wall, of course they'll fight.
Okay, I have a question. Do gorillas have sweat glands? I don't think
I'm not sure.
I don't think they do, because the reason humans is, well, here's one of the reasons we think we're one of the optimal species. So we can sweat. We can work in multiple temperatures, and we can just burn off stuff to cool ourselves. Whereas a gorilla might not be able to do that. And so say a dog overheating is much more dangerous than a human
Okay.
overheating. And if a gorilla doesn't have sweat glands and say uses its fur to control its body temperature, it'll overheat really quickly, and that would probably be the thing that killed it
Okay.
before it could rip through 100 men.
So
Is my
from
assumption.
exhaustion, sort of like a byproduct.
From overheat. Yeah, it's overheating though.
Okay. I don't. Yeah, that's an interesting theory because I don't think anyone I've seen has mentioned that.
That's something. I don't know if they sweat. I just don't.
So that could also be a factor in.
If they sweat, I think the gorilla has a better shot. If they don't, I think the 100 men guaranteed have it. Just because the gorilla will overheat.
Yeah.
Because to go through 100 men is still exhausting.
That is, and I think that's sort of what people are kind of split on. Is I think people that favor the gorilla probably don't know about the stamina thing. They're probably just thinking it's like the Incredible Hulk. Like they're just they just
A
have
beast
like
that-
infinite power, which is like, well, of course they're very strong, very dangerous creatures, but
Yes.
low stamina. So that's why some people are favoring the side of the humans.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where like I just kind of like, not that I'm putting myself in the place of those humans, but the thought of a human just even individually going against a gorilla is just crazy.
Yes.
Like just without a weapon, just with their like hands and
Yes.
feet. So
Yeah, that is crazy. But I think the exhaustion or the overheating of the gorilla might just kill it. Because it would be a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
And the gorilla would be working up a sweat, essentially, if you were a human.
something else that's also like another like variable is if this is out in like the wilderness,
Yeah.
if this is in like, like a proper, I guess, rainforest jungle, in the sense where since they're so agile, they can just quickly go into trees, like they can.
Then the gorilla's just gonna run.
Yeah.
It's never gonna knowingly take on an army.
It would just find a better spot to like
To
just
not
take off
do
to.
that.
Yeah.
That's my opinion though. But thinking about it, I don't think gorillas sweat. And I think that would just kill them. It'd be like asking a dog. Like a dog could do a lot of damage, but to 100 people?
I guess trying to factor in like 100 people like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. 10, I'd probably put money on the gorilla. 100,
yeah.
and even 10, I think the gorilla would still be tired if they played it smart. Because, again, gorillas' stamina is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think someone had put this into like a simulator and it just favored the gorilla. Then again, I'm not too sure like if they had factored in all the different characteristics of the gorilla.
If you're asking ChatGPT, it's going to give you the most common answer that someone would give.
Right.
Right? It's going to take into account the variables other people have taken into account.
Right.
So it's not going to give you any new information. So if someone never said, "Oh, will the gorilla overheat?" then it's never going to think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, strength-wise, could a gorilla do it if without stamina? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a gorilla was just if you were facing King Kong and you never got tired, yeah, the gorilla wins.
Just like persist or yeah.
It's just I think other bodily, specifically bodily climate control will kill it.
Yeah, would be its detriment.
Yeah. But that's my opinion. I don't know. I had heard about it, but I never gave it a thought.
There's also all these like logistical things too of like maybe something else to like factor into. If you're in like a Hunger Games kind of setting where or like let's say like Squid Game setting where it's like the 100 men like the gorilla like they have to go forth with this because if the gorilla isn't dead then they die, so maybe like then the humans their backs up are against the wall, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to be going all out, and maybe because I mean if they don't take down this gorilla then they're all going to die kind of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that might like jack up their adrenaline or whatever else,
Yeah. Like the gorilla's also gonna be. It's kind of weird to think of a gorilla also gonna be getting an adrenaline high. Because it would, because their build is very similar to us. I don't know if they sweat. I think that's literally what it comes down to for me. Does a gorilla sweat?
We can look it up.
We gotta look it up because that's my deciding factor right now.
Yeah, because that's the straw that'll break the camel's back.
Let's see. Does a gorilla sweat? Yes, gorillas do sweat. Okay.
Does this change the equation for you?
That might change the equation.
You're favoring the gorilla?
That might
Team
do it.
Gorilla? Is Tate going to Team Gorilla?
I don't know. It's still a lot of energy, and problem is, like, I think if they didn't sweat, yes, the girl's just screwed. But I don't know. I need to know a little bit more about a gorilla. Like, how many calories do they have to take in a day to maintain? Mm-hmm. And how much water do they have to take in a day to maintain?
Yeah,
I think it's bodily functions that are to be out its downfall.
Because essentially with 100 men, the trick is endurance. So really what it is the immediate strength and durability of a gorilla.
Yeah.
Versus the overall endurance that 100 men bring coming in waves.
Yeah.
So strength versus endurance.
Yeah.
Really is what this is trying to weigh out.
Because I think a gorilla can run for about 30 seconds, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
Before it's, like, done. And so 100, it couldn't rip through 100 men in 30 seconds.
You're tired out too easily.
Yeah.
Huh.
I have heard of another question a lot like this.
Okay.
Do you know what a black mamba is?
I've heard of the name of it, but what type?
It's like a snake.
A
It's like
snake?
one of the most deadliest snakes in the world.
Okay.
Would you rather be trapped in a mall for 24 hours with a gorilla or a black mamba?
How big's the mall?
Or sorry, 5 black mambas.
5 black mambas and 1 gorilla, or 5 gorillas,
Or 1 gorilla.
or 1 gorilla.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not sure if it would matter, but is this mall like many levels? I mean, I guess
What do you
snake-
consider an average mall?
Yeah, to probably have like
2 levels,
at
maybe?
least 2 stories. Yeah,
two stories.
like an escalator going up. I guess like a snake could easily just slither its way up. So
Yeah, snakes can slither.
because I was thinking of like, well, if it's 2 levels, maybe the escalator wasn't working. Okay, no, I guess the snake could still get its way up. Never mind. I was thinking of tactics like you just shut off the power, because I think for me in these situations I'm thinking like, okay, if you were stuck, maybe it's some sort of like external weather force that's keeping you in. So maybe like the power's off. So therefore, which animal has the least like their visibility isn't as good in the dark?
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, black mambas can sense vibrations.
Oh, so like in the ground and everything?
Yeah.
Ah.
So if you're walking, a black mamba would be able to sense that.
And I guess with a gorilla, like I'm assuming like their sense of smell, like most animals would be pretty strong. So then you'd be
It's smell versus
sensation or the vibration sensation.
vibrations. And let's say they're actively hunting you. Let's put it in a situation where they're coming for you if they can.
I mean, I don't know. For some reason, like, okay, I would fear the gorilla more than the snake.
I would fear the gorilla, but I'm thinking the gorilla I could hide from it better than 5 snakes that basically know my position at all
Okay,
times.
well, I guess 5 snakes, 1 gorilla. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I land is a black mamba feeling my vibrations. It's going to be much more of a problem for me.
And something else too, a gorilla moving around is easier to spot out.
Yeah.
Like a snake, you're like, okay, maybe they're under the table. Like you'll be more paranoid about something like that. So yeah, I guess in that case, maybe the gorilla.
But your question reminded me of that question, which I was asked about a year ago.
Oh,
These
yeah.
gorilla questions seem to be yearly now, apparently.
Huh.
So
So I guess, well,
I personally favor the humans because I think strategy would develop.
yeah. And if people are that, if they're still pursuing it, they're still more determined. So maybe they,
Yeah.
true. I guess I'm more or less kind of on the fence, but I feel like,
You gotta give me one. No fence sitters here.
okay, you know what? I'm going team gorilla though.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
If I had to pick.
That is fair.
Yeah. I feel like gorilla's got low stamina, but they're still gonna, because it doesn't take a lot for them to like just, I'm sure, like just crush your arm, just whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they may not have to do a lot of cardio work in terms of moving around, but them just sitting there, just biting, grabbing, whatever.
But if you like, if say like 10 people run at it from all sides and like try and pin it, then it has to get up, right? And fling them
Yeah.
off, and that's going to be a decent amount of energy because that's still 10 people. And then they do it again, and then they do it again.
But I feel like they would just like be able to like stand up and turn around, and they would all just fling off. Well, 10 of them? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Tough to say.
you're talking about you're talking a car
Yeah.
just hucked on a gorilla, and then it has to throw it off, and that damage to them is probably going to be minimal.
Yeah.
And then 10 more people do it. And it has to do that. And then 10 more people do it. And they just come in waves. I think you would just tire it out very quickly.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
That's true. Nah, I don't know. I can see that side for sure, but I'm still going with the gorilla though.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm
that is
still gonna
fair.
stick to that. So, Yeah, definitely an interesting debate, and I love these kind of debates. So when this debate came up, I was thinking, this is the perfect topic for the podcast that we do, because
Yeah.
it's just a fun hypothetical that, like, me and Tate, honestly, with our other groups of friends, we just have naturally.
Yeah.
So, and different theories come up, and people bring forth other stuff that we didn't think of before. So when this topic came up and it was kind of viral, I'm like, hey, we have to talk about this.
Okay. So I do have another hypothetical for you.
Okay. So is this your topic now?
This is my topic, and
Okay.
this isn't online somewhere. Okay. If you had to move to a developing nation, where would you go?
To a developing nation.
So
like,
things like Mexico or Brazil or Vietnam.
okay, I see.
So nothing like Germany, United States, Canada.
So just to offer us clarification, so is developing nation the same as third world
It's
country?
second world nation, essentially.
So second. Okay, so there's first world, second world, and third world. Is
Well,
how it's-
okay, they're officially called developed, developing, and undeveloped nations now.
Okay, I guess
So-
I'm not like aware of the different
So
categories.
yeah.
So
So most of Europe's off the table then.
developing countries.
So you could go something like Turkey, but where do you want to go? List out some countries and give me your thoughts.
I guess I have to see like what country would qualify as developing though.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
you can
sure.
grab up a list. Of
Yeah,
developing
off the top of my
countries.
head, I'm not sure how that would.
But yeah, like let's see, what are some developing nations?
So I do have a list of countries I would like to visit. I don't know if they would fit the criteria though.
Developing nations
Let's see here.
list.
I'll do top 10. Let's see. Some of these countries I've never heard of, actually, so I don't know. Okay. Not sure if you're finding, like, lists there.
Yeah, I did find a list.
Okay.
It's
Oh.
by I think the Australian government actually.
I was trying to find a list, and it was like 5 countries with the highest human development index.
Okay, for fun, I'm gonna remove Poland from the list
Okay.
because I think a lot of people like Poland. By the way, this if you live here, this is not an indictment on your country. I love your country.
Tate's just posing the question.
It's
in
just
terms
posing
of-
a question because it's
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird idea for us being in like a first world nation or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, let's see. Okay, list of developed countries. Oh, found some.
Oh, okay.
List of developing countries.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think this. Oh yeah, this is a great list here. Okay.
So what are you thinking?
Okay, so I'm just going through the list of developing countries right now. Well, I guess, do you have ones that you have in mind of?
I would have gone Poland, but now I have to think of something else.
So why are you getting rid of Poland?
Just because I think everyone's going to pick Poland.
Okay.
That's purely the reason I'm getting rid of Poland. Which I guess if you're Polish, that's a compliment. Poland's nice. It might be Vietnam. I hear Vietnam's really nice. The people there.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Mexico.
Mexico, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's your reasonings behind Mexico?
Well, because for the listeners out there, I am bilingual, so I can speak English and French. So I would think that if I had to learn another language, in terms of like a language that is similar in that respect, Spanish.
Spanish, I think, is the closest language to English, so I hear it's the easiest.
Yeah, and especially too, like it follows a lot of similar sort of kind of sort of like in terms of like grammar rules to French.
Yeah.
So I could learn Spanish. I guess I probably wouldn't be too hard to learn Spanish with having English and French down.
Yeah, I'm assuming it would be easier for you. Yeah.
Not that my French is like amazing, but yeah, like I have the concepts of like the masculine, the feminine in terms of stuff like that, and I want to say like similar verb conjugations. Not too sure, but syntax I can't remember if it's similar or different.
Syntax is pretty similar to English.
Think so?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think even grammar's decently similar.
Oh yeah, I had started learning Spanish on like Duolingo back when I was in high school.
Oh, really?
So if I had to learn a third language, I would say probably Spanish. And then also too, like just Mexico itself, I've seen some really beautiful places there.
There are some beautiful places there.
And us coming from Canada, like I'm just drawn to more warmer places because it's like it can get pretty cold up here. So I would say Mexico.
Brazil is tempting for me.
Oh yeah.
Because Brazil also has some beautiful areas. Like, I know their climate can be high, but I think if you stay safe and stay off areas, I think you'd probably be fine.
Oh yeah.
So it might be Brazil for me. Because they also have beautiful areas. It's warmer. Mm-hmm. You get access to the oceans. I also saw Fiji on there on the list, so that might also be tempting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Brazil would be a pretty cool place too.
You could also go like Cuba or something.
Yeah, I did see Cuba on the list too, and like Trinidad and Tobago was another one.
And Cuba would probably be the closest to or to Canada or USA culture. I don't know actually.
Tough to say. Yeah.
I know Americans can't go to Cuba, but I know Canadians can.
Mm-hmm. I want to say so. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Grenada.
Oh, these are places I'd love to visit.
I've definitely I've heard of all of them. I don't know exactly all what their exact situations
their vibe is like.
Thailand actually.
Thailand would be really nice. They have good food.
Actually, Thailand would be a close second.
Thai food? Is Vietnam on there? I think that's
on this list. I'm not seeing it, but
okay, so maybe it's developed then.
Philippines
would be nice. If you're in like Manila area, I hear it can get pretty dangerous outside of that kind of Manila.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Indonesia
would be nice.
Azerbaijan.
I've never even heard of that place.
I have some extended family.
Oh, really?
From there, yeah.
So would you go?
I don't know anything about it other than
you have some family there.
Yeah, so I don't know too much about that country, but let's see. Antigua and Barbuda. St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean, they have Ukraine, and I'm obviously with the war
I would have done Ukraine.
Like prior to the war, I would have said yes to Ukraine. Like that
I would have said yes to Ukraine. Yeah. Are you kidding? They have pierogies there, dude.
Yeah,
that's my entire reason.
Love pierogies.
Exactly.
But no, I'm gonna go with Mexico.
Mexico's a good choice.
I would love to learn Spanish. That's one of my languages. I would definitely love to learn, and yeah, I think you got some really, really cool places there. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be mine.
It might be Brazil for me. Brazil or Hungary, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Brazil. Let's do Brazil. I think the people are there are really passionate, kind, generally.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that would be a cool culture to be around.
Yeah. Well, so what would be like your country in general?
Oh, what?
If it wasn't for Canada, which
it might be Denmark.
Denmark?
Denmark.
Why is that?
I think, okay, Denmark, they're not welcoming to newcomers, but they are one of the happiest cultures in the world. And I think
Okay.
their government takes care of their people really well. Have you seen the Denmark prison system?
No, I'm not
Super
familiar.
nice, dude. They
Okay.
treat their prisoners really well.
So if you get locked up, at least you know that you're...
It's not for that. It's kind of the ideology I like. Of, hey, you're still human kind of deal.
So I'm assuming they might favor more on the rehabilitation
Yeah,
side?
they're much heavier on the rehabilitation side. But
Okay.
I think Denmark would be cool. I think it's a highly educated population. They're blunt, and I think that would be something I'd struggle with. But
Okay.
I think it'd have to be Denmark. What about you?
It's a good pick.
Poland. No.
Well, I would want to say maybe a European country. I mean, maybe like England, just because, like, in terms of, it might be one of the easiest in terms of, like, something from Canada living there, because, I mean, same language and all that.
Same language. You probably understand a lot of their even terminology. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I feel like a place where I didn't speak the language, and in terms of from what I hear from them, it's a really good place. And I always get this confused. What's the country where they're passionate about chocolate and the other's passionate about, like, healthcare, like the best healthcare? Like, is it the same country, or are those two different? I get Switzerland and Finland.
Finland. Switzerland's passionate about chocolate and banks.
Banks. Okay.
I don't know about Finland.
I don't know. I always get
Finland's passionate about their bike lanes.
bike lane. Okay.
I would also go to Finland happily, by the way.
For some reason, I always got Switzerland and Finland mixed up in this. What's the country where, like, they have, like, the best healthcare situation? Is that Switzerland?
It might be Switzerland. I think it's Switzerland or Germany.
Okay, I want to say it's maybe Switzerland. Actually,
Here's the thing: Switzerland has a really good pension too.
Okay.
So, like, if you go to Switzerland, you work, your pension's really sick.
Okay.
Um,
See, best.
Switzerland does have mandatory military service, though.
Oh, they do.
They do.
Okay.
Probably not if you're a newcomer, though. That would be something you'd have to
You
see.
can't opt out of that.
Not if you're a resident, I don't think.
Oh, no, hold on here. It says, okay, list I'm looking on, it's just, I don't even know what site it's on, but, okay, so top 10 mentioned healthcare countries are Australia, or I don't know if there's like the top 10 in order, but essentially it's Australia, Canada, Sweden, Ireland, Netherlands, and Germany.
Sweden.
So Sweden. Okay,
So you're thinking Sweden?
Sweden and Switzerland I get mixed up with.
Yeah.
So Switzerland's the chocolate.
Swiss chocolate, Swiss banks, yeah. And then Sweden is healthcare, I guess. I didn't know that.
Huh, interesting. Ireland.
Why is Canada so high on that list? We've got good healthcare.
We have decent healthcare, yeah.
If you can get in. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the barrier.
Yeah.
Which is probably the same for everywhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess Canada, like, we do pride ourselves on having, like, a
Our decent
pretty good healthcare system
Yeah.
compared to some other places. So
You're going to get good treatment if
Yeah.
you're here.
yeah. So yeah, I guess for me, like,
You would go to Sweden?
well, okay. Honestly, probably if not for Canada, I would be living in somewhere in the UK.
Yeah.
Really, like, in terms, I'd be the easiest, to move, as we had discussed before, with, like,
Yeah.
the same language and all that. Places I'd want to visit on a vacation: Athens,
Athens. Where's Athens?
or sorry, Greece.
Oh, okay.
Greece. Yeah, I would want to go to Greece, but specifically the city of Athens,
Oh, okay.
because for the Greek mythology stuff and all that, I was really into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would you want a vacation? I've always kind of wanted to go to Lithuania.
Well, I probably would want a vacation in Greece as well.
Yeah.
But for other places, Japan would be pretty cool.
I would like to go to Japan. We just need to tell Quinn and he would just take us along or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's one of our mutual friends that's been to Japan and stuff.
He's been to Japan a few times and he really likes it.
Yeah. Where else? I mean, France. I want to go to France.
France would be cool.
You know, flex on my French skills.
I think I'd be scared. French people are gonna look at me and be like, "Oh, stupid Canadian." I don't know if they do that. I've heard many different things. They can be incredibly kind. Well, it's to any culture, right?
I mean, you know, to be fair, like, I mean, it's tough to generalize, you know,
A culture.
because I mean, if someone comes to Canada and some Canadians are really rude, you know, it's like that sours what they think.
Yeah,
of,
and
you
then
know,
that's gonna sour.
and that's not everyone, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know,
I'm assuming it's just kind of like a cultural barrier that gotten like the French people can be mean. I'm assuming it's just in their area being blunt is normal.
yeah,
And like Canadians, we beat around the bush a lot.
yeah. So
Like
it's
that
just
bush is pretty beaten.
yeah. So when we cross over and other people, you know, visit, so it's like a Canadian might visit France, maybe to them because we just go about things a bit differently, then it comes across as rude when it really
Yeah.
wasn't. Like, you know, there's all
Yeah.
situations like that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Tate, is there anything more you want to talk about that?
I'm good for this episode. I think I got everything I wanted out. How about
Okay.
you?
Sounds good. No, I think that was good. There is. Let's see here. Do it for time. Yeah, actually, I think we'll probably stop there. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, we can stop here.
Yeah.
All right, you want to sign off?
Sure. Sounds good. Well, thanks, guys, for listening to another episode of this podcast, and catch us next time where we bring forth some other topics to discuss.
Oh, it's gonna involve pumpkins.
See ya.
It's definitely not.